Can we talk about this afterwards? I want to just make sure I get that updated map, and then I'll take it to Brian Starkey, and we'll just double check it and make sure we're on the same page. Okay. Yeah, I'll
Okay, we're going.
unfortunately
That clock's
travel
slow.
tomorrow too, but be able to
I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Nashville Town Council for October the 19th to order at this time. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Father, we invite you into our meeting tonight to lead us and guide us and help us make the best decision for the citizens of Nashville. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. We'll get started with the approval of our minutes. So look, council, let's look at our minutes for 10/5/21, the called meeting.
Move to approve.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We approve the minutes for 10/5/21. Now, let's look at the minutes for 10/5/21, the regular meeting.
Mayor, I saw no corrections. I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We've approved these minutes for 10/5/21. At this time, we will have public comments, just general public comments that do not concern the hearing for the street event permit, the public hearing for the comprehensive plan, or the request for the property owner to change some things with that. So let's see. Which public comments? I don't know how to tell the difference with these two.
On the far right column.
What?
On the far right column, you should see the topic.
Okay, so Steve Jones. State your name and your address, please.
Steve Jones, 1747 Wallet Mill Road, Battleboro, North Carolina. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My wife and I own property and a house on 201 Essex Road here in Nashville. We purchased the property from the estate of Elizabeth Moore. The property has a failed septic system. The property has its own septic system, as do most of the properties in that subdivision. There's currently no city sewer available close by to tap into. So when we purchased the property, our home inspection didn't reveal sewer issues. The estate did not tell us of any sewer issues, but after we had them, we found out there are sewer issues, and there are some others in the neighborhood, just not to the extent that we have. We've had the system pumped several times in a short period of time, and they determined it was a failed system. We worked through Mr. Lansing, the town manager in the county environmental department, and we were granted a temporary fix to allow us some time to search for a more permanent solution. And the temporary fix involves putting a pump in the septic tank on the water side and pumping the gray water out along a pipe that's installed in the ditch in front of properties 205 and 209, along a drainage ditch between the properties 209 and 213 to a sewer manhole at the back of the drainage ditch. The temp successful. We tried to get a permit to install a repair field on the property. The soil does not meet current standards to do that. As well as we found that Duke Power would require an encroachment easement because power lines run across the front of the yard. Mr. Lansing said that there would be a proposed grant to fund sewer infrastructure along Essex Road and in that subdivision, but that might be, take 3 years time the grant's approved and things are done. So Mr. Lansing said there was a permanent fix that would require us going out the back of the property, and an underground sewer pipe across the adjacent properties of 205 and 209. But that would require easements from the homeowners for, to put that fully closed, and odors for property owners 213 have complained, and we're thinking others might as well. We've talked previously with Mr. Lansing, and he said there might be a possibility that we could bury that PVC pipe to alleviate some of these issues. So my request is if the town council would agree with Mr. Lansing to use Town of Nashville resources to help bury that pipe along there, keep it as a temporary fix until the sewer infrastructure is available.
Randy, could you speak to that?
That is a possibility if the council grants it. You know, the pipe that's there would be put underground from their property all the way to that manhole, and the town crew would make a connection with the manhole into the manhole underground, so the lid could be closed, and all of it would be underground until such time as we get the CDBG grant and we design and build the system. Then this house would have access to a true sewer main right along its frontage out front.
Council?
And Steve, are you asking for the town to bury it, or is that something that your contractor would do?
Well, it was on, since it's on a right of way, I don't know which would be proper, whether the town would do it or a contractor would do it.
Uh-huh.
I guess, you know, we could go either way. I don't know what liabilities I would have on the right of way.
You just need to be granted permission by the town to use it temporarily. And then your contractor could do that. And the town crew would make the connection with the manhole, because it's an old brick one, and they'd prefer to make that connection themselves so that it doesn't get destroyed.
Randy, we've talked about this before, and I've met with Mr. and Mrs. Jones before about this, and it's unfortunate that the other property owner will not allow an easement to try to rectify the problem. Can we go into a shared cost agreement with Mr. Jones and get this line buried?
Yeah, I believe the council can do that.
I move that we get this sewer line buried. It's very unsightly and odor out there, and I think we can share the expense of letting our people do it along this contract. Get an estimate and let's see if we can
Okay.
Why
share
don't you get
costs.
an estimate and then the council will decide?
I withdraw my motion. Let's see if we get an estimate first and see if we can
We can have the actual decision at the November 3rd council meeting.
see if we can get it done.
Okay.
Thank you for
very
sharing
much.
with us. The next name on our agenda Mary, are you gonna speak? Mary?
I was just gonna say, and I'm sorry, I was just gonna say that when we met with, Mr. Taylor and met with Randy, that one of the things that we talked about was that they had assisted, a resident over in Regency Estates, and so when we talked about that, I was under the impression that this would be a fix that they could do for us, like they did for the resident in Regency, that was all.
Okay, thank you. Mary Watson, did you comprehensive plan or the ways I?
For a vote for the.
Okay.
I withdrew,
He
I withdrew the
Do
motion.
we vote on that if he withdrew?
No, but are we still moving forward with getting an estimate first and then bringing it
Yeah.
back?
Yes.
Do I hear a motion that we move ahead, get an estimate?
I so moved.
Second.
All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
All right.
Thank you. So, Dwight, let's see who else. Susan Bell, you'll hear about the plan. Is it Sharp? Shay? I can't read it. What you wanted to speak about. It looks like, I'm not really sure. Shay, I just can't see it. It's run together. I don't know if it was rubbed together or what.
Someone.
Okay, we'll move along. And then, Michael, what are you speaking, you're speaking about later, okay. And then, Susan Bell is here. Have I gotten everybody that wanted to speak? No, have not gotten to Ms. Hedgepath.
My name is Arnett Hedgepath, and I live on Essex Road. I'm here tonight to talk about the ditches on Essex Road. They cannot wait until you all put in some sewage. 12 years ago, you all spent a whole bunch of money to repair the ditches on Essex Road, and when they were doing it, I said they would not keep it up, and that came to be. If you drive through there, the first ditch has been patched, grass growing up, debris on both sides of the road. As you go down Essex Road, continuing to the back, there's one ditch that you wouldn't know was a ditch because the grass has overtaken it. I would like to see the ditches fixed. I would like to know that there is a definite maintenance schedule to keep the ditches fixed, so we won't have to have me come back to talk about ditches. If is some reason why they have not kept it up, I would like to know. My second area of concern is you all have said that you have applied for a grant to install sewage. I would like to know what are the plans if the grant is denied, and what do we do next? Because we're looking at far out, and then if the grant is denied, then what? Is there a backup plan? I would hope that you all had some other resources that could be used to address our issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other people that would like to speak for just the public comment? If not, we'll move on to the first item on our agenda. And this is the public hearing street event permit. Children.
Mayor, before we go further, can we make sure that our town manager will respond to Ms. Hedgepath's comments that are not here tonight, but get back with her?
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The public hearing, street events permit, Children's Christmas Bike Parade and Downtown Christmas Celebration on December the 4th. And do I need to let Marguerite speak before we go into a public? Okay, you speak, and then we'll see if there's anybody that wants.
Okay, all right. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. I'm Marguerite Bishop, and I am here representing the Chamber of Commerce for the town of Nashville. We are planning a joint event with Town of Nashville Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources, along with the Chamber of Commerce, for the Children's Christmas Bike Parade and Downtown Christmas Celebration on December 4th, which is the traditional day that the Chamber of Commerce holds their bike parade for the children. We have taken and we have changed a little bit of the route with the intention to make the event a little bit bigger of an event this year. So what we will do is we are asking to close down a rolling close of Church Street by the library and Alston Street going back towards CVS, and then Washington Street by the Battleship, and then Body Street right in front of Town of Nashville Parks and Rec Department, okay? With the intention that the bike parade will go in that direction. The plan is right now, with y'all's approval, if this is approved, that we might start trying to build into a little bit bigger of a parade after the bike parade. So the bike parade will lead. We will have a small Christmas parade this year to start with. We will then have vendors that line Body Street and into the Nashville Library parking lot, okay, to be able to sell crafts and have crafts for the kids to do. We were still trying to find music to come, and Santa Claus will still be there. But this is a change from the past on what street closures were actually asking for. And then the whole event will, the finale with the lighting of the Christmas tree on the Battleship. So.
Thank you, Marguerite. That sounds exciting. Now I need to know if there's a motion that we go into a public hearing if anyone wants to discuss this.
Move to go in public hearing.
Second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone that would like to speak to this? If not, do I hear a motion that we come out of closed session?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
All right.
Thank you, Marguerite and the Chamber, and we look forward to working with you. I think it's going to be a great event for our families here in Nashville. Thank you.
Working with y'all as well.
Yes.
Could you give a motion in a second to approve the event?
Oh, we might need that. Do I hear a motion that we approve the event? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Where do we stand? Is Coy here?
He's not here this evening.
Where do we stand on the arrival of our new Christmas tree for the Battleship?
It's here.
It's here? That's good. Have we decided at what position, what location we're gonna put it?
Well, there was discussion about that yesterday. I think Lynn had brought it up to Coy. You know, there's an arborvitae tree in the Battleship right now that the top is died out of. We could remove that, and that could be the location for the artificial Christmas tree. I don't know about you, I'm a little leery of cut trees down on Washington Street right now,
But it's dying.
yeah.
And I believe Coy was gonna bring it up to our tree committee
Right.
too, so that they could weigh in on it.
And give a recommendation.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks for asking. Thank you again, Marguerite. The next item on our agenda is the public hearing on the 2021 Nashville Comprehensive Plan and the future land use map, and I'm gonna turn it over to Sherry at this time.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So on behalf of the Nashville Comprehensive Plan and the Future Land Use Map, so North Carolina General Statute 160D requires that all local governments have a current comprehensive plan or land use plan in order to retain authority to enforce their zoning regulations effective July 1st, 2022. And so the last revenue to develop a new comprehensive plan and future land use map for the town. So we have with us tonight Daniel Raw from Withers Revenue. He will also have a present a presentation for you. And so we've been working with Withers Revenue over the past 14 months. We've engaged with Nashville's residents and group organizations, developers, businesses, and industries. And the list of topics that you have in your packet, these were just general topics that's listed in our North Carolina General Statutes and the 160D. Some of these topics are listed or covered in our Nashville Comprehensive Land Use Plan. And also with the land use plan, comprehensive plan, Chapter 160D requires that local governments, planning board, and governing board to hold public hearing on the comprehensive plan and future land use map. And the planning board had held its public hearing on this comprehensive land use plan and the future land use map on September 29th. And they their recommendation was to approve the plan. So now it's before you tonight. And Mr. Raw is here tonight to present to you the Nashville Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you, council members. Thank you, Mayor Brown.
Should we go into, like the open, the public hearing and let him speak in that, or let him speak first? I just want to know.
You can do either, Mayor.
Okay, that'll be fine. Go ahead, David.
Okay. I will thank you, Mayor Brown, and thank you everyone from the public here tonight. As Sherry said, my name is Daniel Rao. I'm with Withers Ravenel. We are the consulting firm that has been working with the town on developing this land use plan, as Sherry said, for about 14 months now. From the town's perspective, Randy Lansing, the town manager, Sherry Moss, the planning director, and Sean Lucas have all been assisting the consulting team and the stakeholder group to develop this plan. From Withers Ravenel, I myself am Daniel Rao. We also had Caroline Richardson and Brendy Vega, who you may have met in any of the public engagement efforts we conducted throughout this process. And from WSP, we have Shalat Shavong and Will Letchforth, and both of them have been in the public workshops as well. So this is a very brief presentation. I promise, even though the agenda is fairly long, we only have a few slides. I just want to cover the project history, discuss the steering committee and the public engagement efforts, talk about the work session we conducted in August with the planning board and council members, discuss the vision and goals development and our implementation items overview, and then finish up with the future land use map and the small area plans we created as part of this plan. So the project began in July of 2020. Mayor Brown was kind enough to give the planning team a tour of the town and understand some of the context and existing conditions of the town. We then used the steering committee or stakeholder group that was formulated by town leadership to engage with them as part of this process. We've been engaging with them throughout the entire plan, and they've been advising on plan chapters, the vision and goal development, and the future land use map. We went and conducted background research that includes demographic data analysis, reviewing previous plans adopted by the municipality, and other elements of the town's history. We then conducted public engagement. We did 3 public workshops, 2 in December and January, and then 1 more recently this year. For vision and goal development, we worked very closely with the steering committee to come up with a vision, unified vision for the town, and the goals associated with that vision. All that came from the feedback from our public engagement and the steering committee input. From that vision and goal, we worked to develop the implementation items as part of the plan, as well as the future land use map and the small area plans. We did our 3rd public workshop following the development of those plans to show our efforts to the public and receive any final feedback. And then we conducted a work session with available planning board members and council members in August to review the entire plan contents and implementation items, as well as the future land use map. We're now in the final stages of this project, which is adoption, and that's where we are tonight. Although I do believe we are not, this will be tabled until next week, or a next meeting. So the steering committee, I want to go ahead and just give a shout out to these members: Mayor Brown, Dwight Jordan, Luke Whitehead, Amy Beasley, Lynn Hobbs, and Mary Dottridge. These individuals were involved with the plan, as I said, from the beginning. As I mentioned, for public engagement, we did hold 3 public workshops. This was also supplemented early on by stakeholder meetings. We had 4 meetings with 4 distinct groups: young professionals, business owners, land developers, and utility representatives. We also conducted an online survey in which we received 154 responses and held a public website, a project website, I should say, that provided information on the project steps and the next steps that would follow, as well as a link to the survey. In August, Randy Lansing, Sherry Moss, and I met with the planning board members and town council members to review the documents, as I mentioned. All feedback that we did collect from available members that participated in that workshop was integrated into the plan documents. So the major findings we had as part of this plan was for the town as a whole, image and identity, the struggle of maintaining a small town culture while facing this inevitable growth that's occurring and trying to balance that. Traffic and congestion, we know that downtown roadways can be a burden, especially during rush hour. Alongside that, access and connectivity, WSP, or Transportation Sub-Consultant was, worked very hard to identify alternative routes and ensure sidewalk development policies were in place, were recommended as part of this document to ease that congestion throughout the town. There's a strong demand for community spaces. This includes greenways, trails, and future parks. As I mentioned, managing growth, alongside managing the growth that's coming at a regional level, making sure that growth occurs within the town is at a compatible scale and character with the surrounding uses. And then redevelopment of downtown, just expanding the assets and the attractiveness of downtown to make sure that it continues to be a community hotspot. So the vision, which was developed with the steering committee, is this: Nashville, a charming community with rich history, will preserve its shared community values and promote the inclusion of diverse groups, creeds, and ideas that will guide us to a promising future. This vision was established in an iterative process with the steering committee. From that, we devised goals, 7 goals specifically, to achieve this vision. Strategically grow diverse residential options to attract young professionals and families. Ensure inclusive housing and opportunities for all. Nurture innovative and stable commercial, office, and industrial areas that serve the needs of residents, provide employment, and strengthen Nashville's tax base. Establish a vibrant, mixed-use town core that is pedestrian-friendly, contains a variety of new amenities, and serves as a gathering space for the community. Actively improve the town's utility infrastructure and use development negotiations and grants to leverage costs away from the residents. Expand the bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure of the town to continue to promote the accessibility and interactions of small town Americana. And finally, grow parks, programs, and environmental amenities so that all residents can enjoy the town amenities. So from these goals, we devised implementation items. These items are measurable and actionable tasks that town staff and stakeholders can take ownership over, and these will achieve the goals of the plan and ultimately the vision that was established in plan creation. We've broken this up into 5 overarching categories. This is used to find complementary action items to conduct at the same time, as well as assigning appropriate stakeholder groups and staff to undertake the task. These categories are community character and land use, parks and recreation, transportation, utilities, and economic development. And this takes us to the future land use map. This is a planning tool that assists administration when making decisions, a consistency statement and a statement of reasonableness. This document will be looked to for that type of decision making. This document is not set in stone. It can be amended. It is meant to be a living document, but it is intended to be used to guide the future of the town's development. This is not changing zoning. At no point does this change the use that is occurring on the land right now. So anything that would be changed from the zoning or different from the zoning does not impact the current land zoning. In addition to the future land use map, we created 3 small area plans. These were used to kind of focus in on 3 distinct areas that through the steering committee and town staff we identified as being very important and very crucial to the town's future success. Of course, we did the Barn Street beautification, tackling elements that would work in the future of Barn Street to make it more pedestrian-friendly and essentially an extension of the downtown. Cook Road, we tackled as a boutique industrial park. There are certain utility limitations to that land as it is right now, so the undertaking of flex space or light industrial parcels on those lands would be the best use for that, and actually work to activate that land where there's currently not any development, or very little development, I should say, from a light industrial standpoint. And the final small area plan is Corbett Road. It's kind of wedged between the railroad and the highway. So at this point, those lands are not very active. They can't really be developed because of the railroad crossing. So what we have proposed here is to leverage an existing railroad crossing at Corbett Road to fully activate these industrial parcels for large-scale industrial uses in the future. With that, I want to thank you for your time and appreciate everyone taking the time to listen to this presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. At this time, do I hear a motion for us to go into open public hearing to discuss for people that have concerns? Is there a second?
Second.
At this time, we'll go into our open, let me see. Dwight Jordan, you'd signed up to speak.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dwight Jordan. I reside at 713 Westview Court here in the town of Nashville. For full disclosure, I am also a member of the town's planning board and was a member of the steering committee for the comprehensive plan. I am not here to speak on behalf of the planning board, nor am I here to speak on behalf of the steering committee. I'm here to speak on behalf of Dwight Jordan, who is a resident of the town of Nashville. Now, when I chose to join the steering committee for the comprehensive plan, I had really planned not to be a part of it. After giving it some thought and prayer, I decided to become a part. And once becoming a part, I truly enjoyed being a part of the group, going through the processes and workshops, listening to the general public who came in and participated in those workshops. And I found it to be an enlightening opportunity and experience. I'm here to ask the town council not to change the zoning request at 608 Western Avenue. Currently, it's at medium density. Going any higher would make that area out of character. The harmony would be gone. Now, anytime a developer comes into your area, he knows what the zoning is for that area. You buy land, you take a risk. It's not our responsibility to make sure that they are able to do what they want to with the land once our citizens have spoken against what they feel would be an infringement on the area. I truly believe that that would be a total detriment to the residents of that area as well as the town of Nashville. I hope and I pray that you listen and you make the best choice, not only for the town of Nashville, but the residents up and down Western Avenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Kenneth Fly.
Kenneth Fly, 728 Westview Court. Can everybody hear me? Okay. So I echo exactly what Dwight just said. I live in 728 Westview Court, along with my wife Ashley. Everybody in the neighborhood is against the rezoning of 608 Western Avenue. We would like it to stay the same, and just take a moment and think about all the public comment sessions we had last year before the planning committee came up with the new land use. Just think about all the comments, and also in the mornings, take a look, ride down Western Avenue at how much the traffic is already in the morning, and just imagine 3-story apartments across from Westview Court. Now, like I told Mr. Hurt back when he was doing the Nashville Junction, I said I'm for development. However, I am for development if it's harmony. And the Nashville Junction, that's going to be a good thing. And I also think with him wanting to build 3-story apartments there, if you do want to build 3-story apartments, just take a look at it. And I'd rather have a neighborhood just like Westview Court or townhomes across the street, but the traffic is already a nightmare on Western Avenue. And if they put anything over there, we need a turn lane, because just like they said about downtown, it's almost impossible to turn right out of my neighborhood in the mornings. But just take the words from the other council sessions that we had last year on the discussion. And I know when Kate Burns had some concerns, and I know Ms. Hinton had some concerns, and I know everybody else did as well. Just think about it, and I hope that at the end of the day, you'll make the best decision for the town of Nashville and the residents.
Thank you, Kenneth. Next is Wendy Chapman.
Good evening. My name is Wendy Smith Chapman. I grew up in Nashville, and I'm co-owner of the property at 610 Western Avenue, along with my mother and my brother. And I appreciate the opportunity to give comment on behalf of my family on the proposed comprehensive plan presented tonight by Withers and Ravenel. I want to tell you that I read that plan cover to cover, and I'm impressed with the inclusive process that was used to examine and analyze the existing conditions in the town of Nashville, gather input from all of the stakeholders, including the public, town council, town staff. They have put forth tonight a plan that is indeed thoughtful, comprehensive, and lays out a clear pathway for future development of Nashville. It is my understanding from Mr. Lansing that the council has the option and the authority to make any changes they might wish to at any time, before or after the plan has been approved. I am also aware that there is a request for a zoning change that is coming to the council if it is not already. And that is, again, the request from Mr. Michael Hurt to change the zoning of the property adjacent to my family's property at 608 Western from medium density to high density. Folks, we've been down this road before. Let me remind the council that nothing has changed. The old comprehensive plan slated that property as medium density. The issues that were brought up by my family and all of the neighbors at that particular time have not changed. They're still the same. I want to reiterate to both the council and to Mr. Hurt that my family has never been opposed to controlled growth and development of the property next to us. Not growth that's in harmony with the area and in accordance with the comprehensive plan. We ask the council to please not make a change until the new comprehensive plan had been presented. Well, now that new plan is here, and it still slates that property as medium density after taking into consideration all of the public comment, all of the factors that were considered in that plan, because medium density is in harmony with that area. and the proposed future growth. So I urge the council to approve the comprehensive plan as it has been presented to you tonight by Withers and Ravenel. I further urge you to move very cautiously and thoughtfully in the future before making any amendments to the plan.
Thank you. Susan Bell? Pardon? Okay. Is there anyone else here that wanted to speak to the comprehensive plan? If not, do I hear a motion that we come out of our public hearing?
If we had some questions.
Oh, certainly, yes. Do you have?
I wanted to ask about the workshops. There were 3 workshops that were held, and it was during the pandemic. And Sherry, I think you let us know how many people on average were at those workshops.
It was 33 for the first 2 and 29 for the last one.
Okay. All right. That's not a lot of people for workshops. And the survey you said was 154 responses, and I believe 71% of those were from residents of the town of Nashville, which would make it about 109. So 109 people out of a population of 5,600 as of the last census is about 2%. So 2% input is not a lot. And that's a big concern to me.
But remember when I asked the people, and I was concerned about that, and they said that it was normal even during a good time.
Yes, those are not low numbers for
Right.
public
That's
engagement.
exactly what I was told.
Unfortunately, that's the nature of the optional part of public engagement. We did hold an additional workshop from the original 2 to gauge more input because of that request.
But there again, public perception, 2% of a population with coming up with a comprehensive plan for 10 years. It's not a lot. I may be in your frame of reference, but, you know.
Daniel,
ask it-
I'm sorry, go
If
ahead.
you ask a man on the street, is 2% adequate input for something that is this far-reaching?
But it's normal. You know,
We can't force people
we can't
to
force
come to
people
these
to
things.
come
But
to things like
Daniel,
this. And that's why I ask, because I thought our numbers may be low, and they told me every time that we were right on target during normal times.
Mayor, may I?
Excuse
Daniel,
me.
I believe that before you took over, the young lady that was helping us at the time when we were having those sessions indicated to us that our numbers were really quite exceptional considering the fact that we were in the midst of a pandemic. So the numbers were better even than what they would have been expected had we been just in normal conditions. Is that not true?
That is correct. And on top of that, just leveraging the steering committee itself is another way we've been, we've attempted to collect as much community input as possible through these various methods because it is difficult to begin with, and we did have a pandemic we were working through. But each time we did hold any type of public engagement for this town, the quality of the feedback was exceptional, and the numbers were great. But I do not disagree. It is the challenge with public input.
But
I have a
no
question.
differently than other locales.
Mayor, we have,
Can I just have, I can't resist. Okay, Marguerite Bishop, I live at 114 East Church Street in the town. And I used to work for Parks and Rec. I used to be director for Parks and Rec here. But with Parks and Rec, comprehensive plans, right? You have to have a certain level of input, right, for a Part F grant. And I know, this might be totally extra money, and I get that too financially, but I know of companies, and it might be y'all, that also help with Part F grant type stuff to get a comprehensive plan that you can do phone calls and then follow up phone calls to try to get more participation, because to get that Part F grant, you have to have a higher level of participation within your survey and staff type thing, and I didn't know if you had thought about that. I don't know if that was in the original contract or anything like that, and I know I'm stepping way out of bounds right now, but I do live in the town, so that might help your 2% problem, but it might be a money issue, and I get that too. So that's all I had to say.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on up, Michael Hart.
How y'all doing? Good. I am the property owner at 608 Western Avenue, and the map that's up here on the board here, it's hard to see, but through my recollection, the majority, almost all properties that are on alternate Highway 64 on Western Avenue, almost all of them are going to be slided towards neighborhood services, with the exception of a few. One of them happens to be mine. And we have one of the largest road frontages on that road. We have one of the largest tracts of land on that property as well. And so I'm not asking for rezoning. We're not asking for multifamily apartments. All we're asking is that we be in harmony with what the comprehensive plan is laying out for the future, and to be slided towards neighborhood services moving forward. That's it. It's not any more than that. And I mean, Daniel, do you, just out of curiosity, when we were doing these studies, why was the majority of that street up and down alternate Highway 64 slided towards neighborhood services? And I'm talking about Western Avenue.
Yes, sir. I'd like to blow this up so it might be a little more legible. But I'm going the wrong way. So when we initially looked at this corridor of Western Avenue, we analyzed it and went through a couple iterations of what that corridor could look like in the future and what it was slated to. And I guess I should hurry up.
Zoom in a little more, Daniel.
And maybe use your mouse to point.
It unfortunately doesn't want to go in any further. I'm sorry. This is Western Avenue, if you can see my mouse.
Yeah.
We had originally slated that for a use that no longer exists, but that was a mixed use. It was essentially kind of a spiritual cousin to the town center future land use, and that was that it was going to be a mixture that would develop over time of residential and commercial. But the way we envision this, as because this is a major corridor into the town towards Barn Street, in the future we do recognize that that frontage will probably be commercial or some type of neighborhood service in nature, with medium density residential situated in the rear of it.
And so, I mean, I think that with the road frontage on alternate Highway 64, I think that puts us in a good position in a fair claim to see what the remainder of the properties are showing to be slided towards on alternate Highway 64. So I respectfully request that change as a property owner here in town to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council about the plan?
Yes, I had a question. The Corbett Road, 130 acres, it's for an industrial park. I didn't know we had explored that.
For Corbett Road, that industrial park. Yes, that was identified as one of the 3 locations that required maybe a little more guidance because of its landlocked nature.
But that land has not been purchased. It's just,
No, ma'am, this is just what would it take to get that land developed.
okay. I had another question on page 90. It's about roads that connect in town. and I guess it would actually be on page 91. It's pretty small print. But it says from the intersection of East Cross Street and South First Street, running parallel to the train track and ending at either the intersection of Eastern Avenue on East Washington Avenue or Club Street. Now, that would run down the railroad track?
There is right-of-way along that railroad track.
But there are also people's backyards, and there are about 17 homes that would be affected, and their backyards would be wiped out.
So based on the initial analysis by WSP, I believe there may be only one or two lots that would be impacted by that.
I'd be glad to walk it with you.
Okay.
I'm really concerned that that has a high priority, because, and who would pay for that? That's not DOT.
No, this would be a local road, and this is something that, you know, we recommend that the town explore feasibility for, and that includes costs as well as what lands would need to be taken, if any, and if that is not feasible, then that's not feasible, but this was what WSP had recommended.
Anyway, as I said, I found that to be almost shocking. Yeah.
Any other comments from the council?
And Corbett Road is on the outskirts of our ETJ as it stands right now, already, right?
It's within the ETJ.
It's within the
Yes, sir.
ETJ, but it's on
It's
the,
right on the edge.
it's on the far edge
Yes, sir, on the
of being
far,
out.
far west side of town.
Right, okay.
Any other comments from the council? If not, do I hear a motion to come out of public?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we'll come out of open session. I need to now ask for the desires of the council on the comprehensive plan.
Mayor, I would think that we might want to delay any action to give both the council an opportunity to review everything thoroughly, to take into account the public comments that were made here tonight, as well as to give our absentee council person an opportunity to be here as well. So my motion would be to delay action until our November 3rd meeting.
Do I hear a
I'll
second?
second.
Okay, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. So we'll take this till November, our November meeting. The next item on our agenda is, I'll turn it over to our planner, Sherry. This is concerning some property.
Okay, this is a special use permit, SU 2021-03. Is a request by property owner Destin Faithful for a special use permit to allow 3 two-family residential homes to be developed off North Clarendon Drive, plus minus 1 deeded acres, R10 medium density residential zoning district, Nash County PIN number 381006390343 in the town of Nashville, per Division 4, Section 18-115 and Section 18-116, 18 of the Nashville zoning ordinance. The two-family dwellings per our table of permitted uses are allowed in the R10 residential zoning district by special use permit that has to be approved by town council. The R10 is defined as medium density residential. Permitted uses in this district are designed to stabilize and protect all activities of residential nature except certain home occupations controlled by specific limitations. Application for special use permits requires an evidentiary hearing by the town council acting as a quasi-judicial board. If this special use permit application is approved, the existing property is proposed to undergo a 3-lot minor subdivision. Each lot is proposed for 1 two-family dwelling duplex with 4 off-street parking spaces and a 12,000 square foot minimum lot size as is shown on the attached site plan. The petitioned property appears to be located in a wooded area. The official zoning map designates the said location as medium density. The closest residential use in the adjacent is the adjacent property located at 125 North Clarendon Drive. The next closest residential use is located approximately 275 feet away at 1103 Eastern Avenue. Other nearby zoning districts in the area are B1 Highway Business, A1 Agriculture, OI Office Institutional, and I1 Industrial District. Notices of the October 19th quasi-judicial hearing were mailed to approximately 17 property owners within 500 plus feet on Tuesday, October 5th, 2021, and was published in the October 7th and October 14th editions of the Nashville Graphic. The Technical Review Committee, also known as TRC, met on October 7th, 2021, and expressed concern of the parking layout of the site plan regarding residents backing out on North Clarendon Drive. So the TRC recommended that the applicant revise the site plan to show a safer alternative parking method. And the alternative parking method, the revised copy of that was submitted to the planning department on October 11th, 2021, and that's what's in your packet. Also, in granting or denying a special use permit, the council shall make the following findings of fact. 1, the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted and approved. 2, the use meets all required conditions and specifications. 3, the use will not substantially injure the value or of adjoining or abutting property, or that the use is a public necessity. 4, the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is located and in general conformity with the plan of development for the town. The town council may require additional comments to assure that the use will be harmonious with the surrounding area and in keeping the spirit and the intent of the land use ordinance. A decision to deny must state the reasons for the denial. The decision must be based on testimony and evidence given at the quasi-judicial hearing and the above findings of fact. Not all 4 findings of fact need to be met to deny a special use permit request. And also you have in your packet, in which I will just briefly go over the quasi-judicial rules that apply to this special use request. The application for a special use permit, as stated before, requires an evidentiary hearing, which will be heard by council acting as a quasi-judicial board. The purpose of this hearing is to gather legally acceptable evidence in order to establish sufficient facts to apply the applicable ordinance. The purpose is not to gather public opinion about the desirability of the project. Council should not discuss or receive information about the merits of the case from parties or members of the public before the hearing. All testimony before council must be sworn testimony. All persons wishing to speak on this matter must be sworn in. Applicants may elect to be represented by legal counsel. The applicant has the burden of producing sufficient, substantial, competent, and material evidence for the council to conclude that the criteria of the applicable ordinances have been met. Staff will not provide a recommendation on denial or approval of the case until after the evidentiary hearing is closed. All evidence must be presented and considered before a recommendation can be submitted. After the hearing is closed, then the staff will make their recommendation to the board. So procedures for this hearing: anyone who wants to speak at this quasi-judicial public hearing should sign in with the town clerk or come up to be sworn in to speak. The hearing is open and preliminary matters are addressed. The staff representative presents a preliminary statement. The applicant is called on to present the argument and evidence in support of the application, followed by others who wish to speak in support or opposition of the application. Town council may pose questions to the applicant and the speakers who spoke in support or opposition of the application. Both sides are permitted to question the other side and present rebuttals. The mayor closes the period for public discussion. Town council deliberates. In the course of the deliberation, members of the council may ask questions of the staff, the applicant, or others who have testified, but beyond that, additional comments from the floor will be admitted only at the discretion of the mayor. Additional cross-examination and rebuttals may be made only on new evidence presented. The hearing is closed and the staff makes their recommendation at that time. And rules for public hearing speakers: you could speak from the podium, present, of course, state your name and your address, and you present your argument and evidence to show that the standards of the Apple ordinance have been met as concisely and efficiently as possible. All speakers should address the approval criteria and must avoid inflammatory, irrelevant, or repetitious testimony. Groups are encouraged to select a spokesperson to speak about the general matters for the group. Speakers may introduce exhibits only to support their testimony at the hearing. Letters from individuals who do not appear at the hearing and petitions are considered unsworn testimony or hearsay and cannot be considered by council. All speakers should ensure their testimony is relevant to the criteria, consists of statements and facts about which the speaker can personally testify, and not statements or words of others who are not testifying, and is not speculative opinions or generalized objections without supporting facts. Others who are qualified as experts in the appropriate field should testify about how the use of the property in a particular way would affect the value of other property, how the increase of vehicular traffic resulting from the proposed development would pose a danger to the public safety, or other matters that would require expert testimony under the rules of this evidence. All speakers should direct their testimony to the criteria that must be met for the particular application. And with that in your packet, you have your special use permit application that was completed by the applicant. Also with the meets and bounds of the property. Also, you have the revised site plan showing the three lots of how the duplex will be laid out, including the 4 parking spaces that's shown on the site plan. And even though the special use requirement for each lot for the duplex is a minimum of 12,000 square feet, you have lot 2, 3, and 4, with lot 2 being 13,859 square feet, lot 3 being 12,899 square feet, and with lot 4 being 12,297 square feet. So it meets all the requirements that's listed on the special use permit requirements from section 18-116. You also have a list of the adjacent property, of the property owners within and a little bit further of 500 feet. You have your vicinity map showing where the actual property is and what's around it. You also have your zoning classification map showing the various zoning districts around it. And also you have a flood zone designation just to show you if there are any flood hazard zones that's around it, which is not. And also the watershed location or public water supply, which is south of the property, further down past the railroad track. And you also have your table of permitted uses showing that 2-family dwellings are allowed in the R10 zoning district as a special use permit. And you have your setback chart showing the minimum lot size requirement, lot width, and front, side, and rear setbacks. And you also have section 18-115 special uses, which the special uses granted by the town council. Those are 1 through 9. and it meets those requirements. And also section 18-116, regulations for special uses, as I just went through, and site plan shows that it meets those requirements as well. And I believe we have Dustin Faithful here too, for if you need him to speak.
Okay, I have on my sign-up sheet to speak, Jennifer, is it Wholeness? Jennifer? Okay, Jennifer. Now, do we need to swear? Would you like to swear these people in? Okay. Jennifer, would you come up? Is there anyone else that wants to speak?
Mr. Faithful too.
That's an expert or?
Anybody that wants to speak should stand and get sworn in at this time.
They need legal standing to speak. So you need to.
If you're gonna speak at a quasi-judicial hearing, you've got to provide evidence of what it is you're gonna talk about. If you're gonna talk about traffic and how this project is gonna increase traffic and safety, you have to speak from an expert testimony. Unless you're a licensed engineer or architect or some other field that can speak expertly to that extent, unfortunately, you can't speak. This is a hearing of evidence. You have to bring forth evidence.
Kind of weren't told that. We live on 107, I like the house down. If that was the case, we would have hired somebody who got here, took something else, but that's kind of get that in 10 days, that was never given to us. Also, the updated site plan was never given to us.
Yeah, we went to town hall asking
That's
for
what
a
we said.
copy of everything, and.
If that was the case, I'll pay my own money, get somebody to come out, yeah, that's not a problem. But we were never given that, they'll just
What?
have to be an expert,
What did you say, Sherry?
I didn't get requests for site plan, revised site plan.
We did.
We spoke with him, I have a
Oh, okay.
meeting time.
Oh.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That meeting time, that's right.
So what do we need to do?
Give
But we
it,
were told just to come
Come
and
and
speak,
speak,
we were
yeah.
against it, come and speak.
but if you give me what that stuff is we just read, we give us about, the next year, we'll have somebody here coming. I let them set up that little thing in our yard that they did before, all the traffic that comes through the mouth, there's no way that that's gonna happen. I mean, if they can set it up and they get 30 days of how much traffic already comes, and
I think the mayor's like, do you want to testify or not?
we do, but we can't
Well,
because you just said
We
we're not.
can't because we
we're
got
not
to
working
wait
with it.
Okay,
10 days.
all right. So I think at this point, the mayor needs to swear in who's going to testify, which I believe is Mr. Faithful. So I think he needs to be sworn in, and then we can start with the hearing.
Okay.
All right, I think, yeah, I think, well, we're starting with the hearing now, so we need to swear in the witness. I think they just stated that they did not want to testify.
No, we do want to testify,
Well, if you-
but we can't because we're not.
Are you have to present yourself as an expert witness.
But they
But
can
don't
have
they live
notice
there?
that we can
Okay,
do that.
we can talk about that after the meeting. Right now, the hearing is starting, and so if you could swear in Mr. Faithful, I think he's the only one that wants to testify.
I would just like to say, per our zoning code, 10 days is what we are allowed to send public notices to the property owners.
Okay. Okay, would you like to come up? Let me just swear you in.
Thank you.
Come up here, let me
Oh,
do.
okay.
I think I have to do this. I'm not really sure, I don't have before, but you just swear to tell the truth on this development that you're doing. Okay, okay. Now do I hear a motion that we go into the hearings? Is there a second? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay?
Thank you guys for having me.
Shh, please.
It's my first time joining you guys here, and my name is Dustin Faithful. I'm originally from Nash County. COVID's hit, and it's kind of pushed me out of Raleigh. I went to NC State, and I'm moving back this way. Excited to be back close to my family and everything, and so yeah, I'm applying for 3 two-family dwellings on Clarendon Road. I'm at 125 Clarendon, and right next to me is enough land to possibly do 3 two-dwelling family units, as Ms. Sherry mentioned. and I don't want to be redundant, but, you know, just kind of bulletizing what you said, two family dwelling units are allowed in R10 zoning by a special use permit. So again, that's what I'm applying for. Each family dwelling meets the required 12,000 square foot lot size. I consulted with Joyner Keeney Engineering Services to help provide you guys the layouts, the boundaries, the visuals, the survey, all that good stuff. And, you know, based on the original driveway layouts, I agree with the expressed concern about vehicles backing out into Clarendon Road. Totally, they could basically hammerhead, pull directly onto Clarendon Road is all I'm trying to say, instead of backing out into Clarendon Road, because it's much safer. So basically what I'm trying to say is redesign the driveways to accommodate residents and pedestrians driving down driving down Clarendon. It's a 35-mile-per-hour zone, you know, so everybody can stay safe and they can pull straight out onto the road. I appreciate you guys considering this special use permit. And let's see if there's anything else I got. I think that's it, if there's any other questions.
Council, do any of you have questions? Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
And the recommendation of the staff is,
To approve the special use permit
okay,
as per section 18-115 and 18-116. Including the site plan, the revised site plan.
okay, I guess we need to come out of the hearing so we can take action. So do I hear a motion that we come out of the quasi? Okay, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And what is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I would like to, we don't necessarily have to vote on this tonight because the general public is not privy to what quasi judicial hearings is all about. So they don't know that they have to be professionals or certified to make comments. I would like to give everybody that's not familiar with what quasi judicial procedures are an opportunity to be able to speak, to hear what their concerns are. So I would move that we not take any action on this right now and just delay it to our next meeting, if that's in order. Giving the other residents along Clarendon an opportunity to prepare themselves better.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, motion carries. So we will take this up and
At our next meeting.
November meeting. Thank you so much.
Mayor, I would just say that, so that the public can understand, it's a hearing in which the council hears testimony, and the council can only hear testimony during the hearing. The council has the opportunity to reopen the hearing at the next meeting and take testimony there. But for the public to understand, the council members can't discuss this matter outside of the hearing.
Right.
So it's, as Councilmember Taylor mentions, members of the public and neighbors may want to take some action to prepare for the next meeting, but one of the things, unfortunately, that you can't do is have a direct conversation with the council members.
Right.
Right.
So just so that people understand, that's for everybody.
Right.
That they can't do that, just so that you may want to talk to town staff, and town staff be glad to explain the process. I'll be glad to help in that process, but just so you know, you can't call up, or if you see them in the grocery store, town council members are not being rude. They just are instructed by me not to talk to the public about it, because in order for this to pass muster, it can only be based on what they hear in the hearing in this room, either tonight or the next meeting. So just so people understand that.
Thank you. Let's move on to our old business. Our old business is, Sarah, the change of the meeting for
If you don't mind, before we move forward, I had to step out and use the restroom. I just wanted to get it for the record. Are we basically re-advertising for an additional quasi-judicial hearing or extending this one? Or what was the action that I needed to have on record?
It was just being tabled,
Just being tabled for right
which
now
they can bring back up.
and reopen it at the next meeting.
Yeah, if anybody, the notices went out for tonight. Anybody is aware that the hearing is tonight, and they should be aware that it was tabled, and there's no need to re-advertise because it's public that it was tabled. And so if you have an interest in the matter, it behooves you to come to the next meeting to hear what the council does. There won't be any re-advertisement.
Let me ask you this, though, and this is just because I don't know. Suppose some of them would just like to make a public comment about it. Could they, without, since it is or not?
They can, anybody can bring and state a factual matter to the council, but when it comes to rendering an opinion, only
That's
an
not
expert
allowed.
can-
Okay.
Only an expert, just like in court, only an expert can render their opinion. So if somebody needs to state a fact, they can state a fact, but they can't state opinion.
Okay, I just wanted to get that clear for myself and everybody. Okay, 4A is the change in the November 2nd council meeting. Sarah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's just a slight revision to the regular meeting schedule. Since we do have an election on November the 2nd, it was suggested that we should push our meeting to Wednesday, November the 3rd. And this is just the official action that would do that.
So do I hear a motion that we change our meeting from November the 2nd to November 3rd?
Move to change the meeting date.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Our next item is the demolition of abandoned derelict structures. I'll turn it over to Randy and Sean. Sean?
Sean, speak to the podium.
Good afternoon, Mayor Brown and council members.
Good evening.
As you know, 2 months ago, we found 2 houses that was in pretty much abandoned structure, bad shape. We brought them before the council. You guys looked at them. We followed the procedure that Ryan King from Fields and Cooper told us to do by posting the notice after you guys voted to give them 60 days to bring them up to code. I went by today. Both of the houses are still in the same condition as were when I brought them that night. So we pretty much got the resolution to have them demoed. We already received the bids, and after we already received the bids. After we go through everything tomorrow, we'll be getting with the chief to maybe set up a time to go do an asbestos check and getting somebody hired out to do a lead paint check on the house. And then after that, we can go and demo if you guys permit it.
Do I hear any discussion from the council or any recommendations?
What was the total cost of that demolition?
Let me grab it.
And while he's getting that, Mayor, I had made an inquiry to Sean yesterday, I believe it was. This property, for the town to demo it, my question was, once the property, the structures have been removed, who retains ownership of the land that is built on? And Sean has informed me that with the demolition of the residence, there will be a lien placed onto the property, and it will take, did you say, how long?
We'll keep building out until the town takes over.
Until the town takes over,
Foreclosure either for not paying.
But they would have time to respond, paying back taxes, paying the lien that's on the property and stuff like that. And then after they had ample time to do that, if they had not stepped forward and done that, then the town at that point would retain ownership of the property. We would not take ownership as soon as the buildings are demoed. So they would still have a process to
And what
follow.
length of time is that?
As far as recouping the property after we knock it over,
Mhm.
it can go from between 3 to 5 years at most times.
Right.
We have to give them time to at least pay the bill. Both people are deceased from when we check records, and we had Fields and Cooper perform the title search. And right now they haven't come back with nothing, so we pretty much can know there's no heir to the property. So you're looking at maybe a 5-year turnaround, but all of that will be handled through finance department after we knock it down. We'll send out the bill of notes, just like we cut grass. We send out the bill telling you have to do this. If you don't do it, it gets assessed to your taxes, and it gets put a lien on the property from the town. proposals we have for both buildings. I won't read all three. We did use 3 local vendors. The cheapest one for 125, I believe, was $4,200 to take down the house and clean up everything and level back grade. For 328, let me make sure I got stuff back in order. For 328, we're looking at the lowest one we had for that one. 13. For 328, the lowest we had on that one was 7,500.
And that's demolition and removal.
That's remove everything, demolition, grading the level, making the lot level smooth where you can go back and actually build another structure on it. And also with 328, the one that all the contractors said they would take down the tree that's actually falling towards the house. They'll be all in the deal too.
So both lots will end up being clear
Clear
lots.
yes,
Clean
sir,
lots.
clear cut where you can go right back and do the
Clean
new
and graded.
structure.
And these funds are already budgeted, Sean?
Yeah, they are budget. We have right at, what is it, 45 or 54,000, Randy?
48,000.
48,000 for this project.
Well, not just this.
Well, not for this project, just for the
I
whole
thought it was
budget to
45.
take down these houses.
45,000 for the removal of derelict properties. Now, keep in mind, these costs don't include the abatement of any asbestos or the removal of any lead-based paint that may have to be done. Don't know until you do those in cheap joiners in the process of having that done. We'll know shortly.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Any comments from the council?
So to move this forward to the next step before the council tonight is a resolution of demolition. If you pass that, adopt that ordinance, then the staff can go ahead and proceed with the demolition of the derelict and abandoned structures.
Council, what is your
I
desire?
move that we proceed with the demolition.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you. Our next item of old business is the Cross Street Drainage Improvement Project. Randy, are you gonna handle that?
Yes. So this project, the council had discussed prior, this is a engineering contract with Stocks Engineering to design, prepare detailed plans and specifications, let the project out for bid, and then oversee the construction. And the scope of this project is to reconstruct 450 feet of broken and sunken curb and gutter on the south side of Cross Street along Braswell Family Farms Mill, essentially from Alston up to the grassy area along that property. Stock's contract for doing that work, the engineering work, is on page 60 of the packet, page 5 of their proposal, $15,150. There may be a few other incidental costs involved in there. Not knowing any quantity, it's hard to figure what those would actually be. But they can begin with the concept process within 4 weeks of notice to proceed with a copy of the survey. That's the timing and acceptance. So this is a project that, you know, they if the council adopts this contract, they could have it all ready to go out and let for bid by middle of December, and then probably by January, 1st of February, we'd have bids back on it for the council to review and approve, and then construction would follow thereafter.
Previously, we saw a figure of about 73,000 for the project.
Correct.
But that was just,
That was the
rough
engineer's
estimate.
cost estimate, yes.
That did not include the engineering.
It included engineering, but not this dollar amount. I think if I remember back on that cost estimate, they had approximately 12,000 in there for engineering. And when we asked for the actual contract, now it's 15,150.
Any questions for Randy from the council?
Now, this is the project, Larry made the motion, Councilman Taylor made the motion to pay half with Powell funds and half with
Right.
stormwater fees.
Right. So, do I hear a motion that we approve the engineering contract with Stotts Engineer for the Cross Street Drainage Improvement Project?
I move we go forward.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. The next item on our agenda is our charter town of Nashville. Sarah, do you want to talk about that?
So the council received several documents related to the charter, including the existing charter and a newly proposed consolidated charter. As you guys may know, the current charter has, well, it's very well seasoned, but it has not been updated since 1969. So there are several provisions in there that were basically cut or revised to ultimately make room for a consolidated, newly proposed charter. A lot of the revisions that were, a lot of the things that were taken out were related to state requirements now. A lot of the things that we did have in the existing charter are now covered by state statutes. So this charter was based on the city of Creedmoor, which received a lot of help from the UNC School of Government back in 2017. So this is why we modeled our new charter after theirs. And this was one of the projects that I inherited from the former clerk. The only action we need tonight is to move forward with scheduling a public hearing for the charter, as well as getting the council's approval to go ahead and let our attorney review it. And if the council has any changes as well, now's the time that we can start doing that. The main reason it's on your agenda tonight is just so we keep it on the radar for the next general assembly. So that way we can move forward.
And did I see a February 2022 date is sort of a final date that we definitely want to have it done prior to then?
Sir, as I read through this charter, I saw several instances where the mayor's term of office was noted as being a 2-year term. I think it's noted about 4 times in here. I think that needs to be corrected. Her term is a 4-year term. It was also noted that the pro tem, thank you, that the pro tem position should be a 2-year term and not a 4-year term. I think those corrections need to be put into this document before we go forward with it.
Any other comments from the council?
So tonight, we're just basically passing a resolution just showing our intent to amend our charter. This is not approval of the document as it stands.
That's correct.
Right.
It's just, isn't it approved like for November the 3rd for the public to ask questions about it, right? Okay,
Just putting everybody on notice.
right.
So,
I move to approve, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
aye.
Motion carries. So, I think that covers all that we had to cover tonight, so,
No, we've got one
There's
more, I
one
believe.
more, yeah.
The last one about derelict,
Oh,
additional
yeah.
derelict houses.
Yep, I forgot about that one. I thought we'd already taken care of that, but we were just going, we just a whole nother set,
We've
yeah.
got some additional ones.
Once again, good afternoon, everybody. We have 3 more. I do have a presentation. If y'all want to see it, I can send out the email tomorrow just to save time for you guys to review the 3 houses. But tonight we have 102 Arrowwood Drive, Miss Vera House over there in the Indian Trail subdivision, the one that caught on fire. We have 208 Vale Street. That is the old New Testament church on Vale Street that they started building the church and then they pretty much stopped, left it like that. And 206 North Body Street, which is the house across from the Vale Street Church that the ceiling and the whole roof has collapsed in on. We've been inside of them. We've been inside of Vale Street and Arrowwood. We didn't go inside Body Street due to the way the structure was. I wanted to wait till we get maybe some more clarification from somebody to go in down just for safety precautions. But Arrowwood Street and Vale Street, pretty much the conditions are the same way as the other ones were. Same thing with Body Street. You can see it from the outside in the pictures. They're the same way. Roof's falling in on Body Street right there. We have posted notices on the door. Every time we send a letter out, we post it on the door. New Testament Church and Body Street right there have not responded back. Arrowwood, Ms. Vera has signed and responded back. She did make note that she was trying to sell the house, but I think that hasn't gone through yet because it's still in her name. And I think it's my best impression that we may need to go ahead and move forward like we did on the other 2. 60 days, put a notice on the door. As Phil and Cooper had told us last time, put a notice on the door, give them 60 days to bring it up to code or at least get permits to get started on the work. And if not, we'll bring back to you guys for ordinance for demolition.
Sean, on your cover sheet of the packet that you sent to us.
Yes, sir.
Please make note, you referenced 2 dates up here, May 19th and October the 8th.
Yes,
on your
sir.
cover sheet.
Yes, sir.
Make sure that you put May 19th and October the 8th of what specific year we're referring to.
I sure will.
For records.
I sure will, yes, sir.
Because it doesn't say what year we're referring to.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is there's a recommendation to pursue the demolition and removal of this abandoned and derelict structure. So what is the desire of the council?
We go forward.
Now, you said the one on Arrowwood is,
It caught on fire back in 2020 when I asked Chief Joyner, and Ms. Ward has not made no repairs on it. As far as, the only thing she did was when we put the last letter up, letting them know that it was going to town council tonight. They did put a tarp over the hole that was in the roof from the fire damage when it was on fire, but as far as they got with it. And on the inside, when we looked in it, it's pretty much, you can see this.
Once we start this proceedings and let her know about that, maybe that will encourage her to move forward, and she may clear it off herself.
Right, exactly. That's what we always ask for first is voluntary compliance before the town does compliance.
Because it's not fair to the neighbors.
No, it's not. It's a mess.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I think you had a
Did you make a motion? Larry?
I think I did.
Is there a second? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, council.
Thank you so much. Now, that was the last item. Town manager, do you have any comments?
I do not, no, thank you.
Council, do you have any comments?
Only comments I have, and I hate the crowd left, I just need to remind everybody, don't forget the election is coming up. Go out and do your civic duty and vote for whoever you choose.
And there's early voting.
Early voting's
you don't
going
have
on
to
at this
wait till
time.
election day. And just thank everyone for coming out tonight and participating.
Absolutely. Same. Thank you again for coming out and speaking and being honest with how you feel. We appreciate it. Do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
Being no further business, I move to adjourn.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.